Hello, so this is going to be a video about how I handle color changes when working with two colors on a rigid heddle loom. This is a plaid scarf I've been weaving in Virginia Tech colors for a relative, and I am almost done with it. It's just got a couple more feet to go, and I thought before I took it off the loom and finished the project altogether, I would make a video about how I've been handling, again, the color changes, both with what I do with the ends right here and how I carry the yarn up the side. So I am to a point where I'm about to have some color changes, and then I figured I would weave in this end once I get a bit going. So first off, I'm going to leave about, what's that, 1.5 inches of thread on the end there. Now we come to the first part. I have an orange thread going from right to left, and how I've been doing the maroon thread is from left to right. When I get to the end right here, and before I change sheds and go the other direction, I need to pay attention to what this last thread right here is up to. And you can see this one is in a hole. When you want to carry a thread up the side, you have to figure out what the equivalent of this thread would be. And the equivalent of this thread would be a slot, like this, because this is a hole here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave this thread in. And how I do that is, if the last thread here is a hole, I'm going to go under the next thread. They're a little tangled here. So this shuttle is going to go under this one, back through. Like so. Now it's time to do maroon. So I'm going to come through. Like that. And again, I'm going to pay attention to what the last thread on this side is doing. And you can see on this one I have it in a slot. So this thread has to be the equivalent of a hole sled. What am I saying? A pick. This pick is the equivalent right here. The orange pick is going to be the equivalent of a hole if I'm weaving it in. So you go under holes and over slots. So I'm going to go over and through. So there's a slightly quicker way to do it, and that is to come through here. And again, we're going to go over this one. So voila, change places. It fell off though, of course, because I'm taking a video. That a little tight over here too. Trying to pay attention to too many things at once and not enough of what I'm actually doing. So you can see by doing that, you get where you're carrying the thread up the side, kind of almost this barber pole stripe, and it's not super thick. And I like to do that in general if I'm carrying or if my blocks here of the different colors are about 8 or less, I'll just carry it up the side. Like I said, I'm starting the maroon heddle from the left and the orange heddle from the right, and that makes it so that the orange is carried up one side and the maroon up another. But I could have started both shuttles from the same side and just carried up the whole way. And if I'd done that, I probably may have even potentially just carried up the entire thing. But what I decided to do, like I said, just a personal preference, is when I have a block of more than 8 picks, I like to just weave the ends back in. So right now I'm going to show you how I do that here with this orange end. I unply the yarn into 2 groups. So this is 4-ply yarn, so it's going to be 2 bundles of 2. And then I take my needle here, and I'm going to thread the bottom one right through here. Whoops, butterfingers today. And I'm going to just follow this pick right here. So I'm going to go over these first 2, because again, if I went under this first one and followed it exactly, I would unweave half of that piece of thread. So I'm going to kind of start right here, and then I'm going to join in with what this one's doing and go over and under. In fact, I like to do it in the middle. I think it gives it a more hidden look that way. But it really probably doesn't matter too much. Because now this next one here, I'm going to do above right there. So again, put this in. Now I could have just taken the whole piece of thread and woven it above, in the middle, below, in the middle, or above. But the problem with that, I feel like, is that it ends up kind of making a thicker, thickening, I should say, of this coloration, and seems to be a bit more apparent that you've woven in end. Where this way, by splitting that thread in half, you can kind of hide it a bit. It doesn't add too much bulk to this one or to that one. These pieces right here will be left long until after I wash it, in which case I will then go back and snip. So there's that. Color changes. Again, if it's in a slot, you're going to go over, and if it's in a hole, you're going to go under. And the way I remember that is holes go under the ground. I hope that's helpful.